Happy Monday, everyone. Jo here of SportsGrid. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Small slate today. I needed a small slate. It was a cold weekend out there on the ice, but I do think it's a money-making Monday. I love where you're going with that, Matt. Let's make some money today. Definitely needed after that. Okay, the first game up is the Washington Capitals taking on the Calgary Flames. Now, Charlie Lindgren is, let me see, confirmed. Yeah, confirmed here for the Washington Capitals, and we do have Wolf coming in for the Calgary Flames. Now, Wolf has been absolutely incredible. The young goalie that was brought up from the AHL, and what we've seen out of him in his last two starts, he's been playing phenomenal out there. When we look at the lines, Calgary is minus 142 here at home. We have seen a move in that line, plus 118 here for the Washington Capitals. Total sitting at 6.5. Now that 6.5 juice to the over at plus 106 and to the under at minus 130. If Dustin Wolf can continue to perform like he's been doing for Calgary, I could see this one as staying under that total, and I understand why the books do have it sitting at minus 130. Charlie Lindgren has been strong in some of these games as well. My problem taking this one under, though, is the defense of the Calgary Flames. We know they've had so many adjustments on the defensive side, and we're seeing those struggles come out of them in that regards. And while they did lock down nicely in their last game, I just don't know in this one if I can trust it. We saw them versus Vegas, and Jacob Markstrom in that did absolutely phenomenal. Now, the Washington Capitals, Ovechkin's been on an absolute tear, and I am counting on him to come out nice and strong as well. When we look at who needs this, and I say needs this win, it is the Washington Capitals, so I do think there's value on them. Plus 118 for the Washington Capitals on the road. Sign me up in that. I like a team that has more to play for to be able to get these wins. So when we're looking at that total, I lean sort of to that over because Calgary's ability to score, the young forwards they have out there, I do think will be impactful in this game. Goal scorers for me, because I am looking at the over. I do think you continue to look at Ovechkin here. Ovechkin coming in at plus 160. Nazem Kadri has been surprisingly strong for the Calgary Flames ever since they started trading off players. So looking at Nazem Kadri, he's coming in at plus 185. Sharakovich, I do like his abilities, and Sharakovich has been so phenomenally strong out there. He's coming in at plus 210, so I do think I'd look at him before I look at Nazem Kadri, but Nazem Kadri definitely the safer person to circle. Looking further down, TJ Oshie, you know you've got to look at him as well for the Washington Capitals. So for the Capitals, it's Ovi and Oshie there, and I will look at Sharakovich for the Calgary Flames, and then Nazem Kadri second. That's all I'm going to do with this game. Again, I do think it goes to the over. Mike, thanks so much for becoming a member. Grabbed your badge. I absolutely love it. Let's make some freaking money today. The Bedard with 0.3 saved your Sunday. Yeah, Bedard able to get that goal. It was really nice to see the young AHL goalie come up, make his debut in Cooley yesterday for the Sharks. He did the best that he could. So I knew he'd go one or the other way, and the Blackhawks just capitalized on him in that first period. Happy Monday, Larry. Let's do this. You're riding with the Sabres. Okay, we're going to get to that game right away. I don't know if I can take the Sabres with the weak performance we've seen out of them offensively, especially when you look at the fact that the Seattle Kraken have won every single meeting versus the Buffalo Sabres. That's 5 meetings straight versus the Sabres. So we're going to get to that right away. Went from negative to plus money on that one. Yeah, we are seeing these lines move. That is for sure. Happy Monday, Kev. Okay, let's get back to the next game here. The Buffalo Sabres and the Seattle Kraken. So we have the Sabres at plus 102 minus 122 here for the Kraken, total 5.5. Now that 5.5 juice to that over at minus 122 and plus 100 to the under. With the weak performance we've seen out of the Buffalo Sabres in their last couple games, it's really hard for me to take this one to go over that total. What I'm going to look at here is I'm just going to pull up the team total, see if we've seen any movement on the team total for the Buffalo Sabres. They're giving us a 2.5. The under 2.5 for the Sabres feels kind of trappy taking it to the under, but at plus 114, I would look at that. Now, I don't want to play the full game total here because I do think the Kraken could have a strong day, but Lankaken has been hot for the Buffalo Sabres. So unless he kind of falls off board here, I do think this is a game in which both of these teams have those issues getting the goals. Now, when we're looking at the Seattle Kraken, the book's really thinking they should be able to go over their team total of 2.5. It's juiced at 168. But we know the Kraken has struggled to score as well. The under is coming in at plus 132. I do think probably if you're wanting to play a total in this one, I would look at that straight under 5.5. I do think this is a 3-2 style game. Is this a 3-2 style game that could be determined in overtime? Absolutely, it could. When we look at these matchups between these two teams, we see that the Buffalo Sabres lost at home in the last game out. We had 5 goals out of the Seattle Kraken. The Sabres only able to put up those 2. The time they had met before was the last season back in January when they met. And that was again in Buffalo with the 4-3 win by the Seattle Kraken. In Seattle, we've seen these totals go to that over. A 5-1 game. So the 5.5 to the over was October 2022, where the Kraken won, and the prior one was 5-2 by the Seattle Kraken back in November 21. So if you're looking to play an over in this one because it's at Seattle, because you think the Seattle Kraken are going to be able to score, again, remember, Lankinken has been hot. When we look at Lankinken as of late, he has an overall save percentage of 915, and goals against average is low. He's 22-17-1. So he's been strong, especially since December. Looking at the goaltender in net, I'm just seeing if we got any confirmation. It is Joey Daccord here, confirmed for the Seattle Kraken. So Joey Daccord has been strong as well. I don't know, you guys. I'm pretty much leaning to that under. I think one of these teams definitely does hit that under their team total. You're going to get plus money if you think it's going to be the Kraken, but I do think the Kraken are able to pull off this win. Just with their record against the Buffalo Sabres, I think they can get things done here, and I do think they're fighting for so much in this matchup here. So give me the Seattle Kraken at minus 122. Give me also a goal scorer here. Let's look at those odds. Make sure nothing has changed. We're looking at Jared McCann here of the Seattle Kraken for that anytime goal. And you guys know when I'm looking at a game that I do expect to go under, that I don't like the likelihood of hitting those goal scorers. But I do think in this one, Jared McCann has just been so strong for the Seattle Kraken at plus 195. Their whole value in that. Shots on goal might be something you might want to look at as well, especially for Tage Thompson. Now, this is a really interesting bet. I just pulled up on FanDuel. Player to record the most shots on goal. Dead heat rules apply. I'm not sure. I think that will be in regulation. If you're looking at which player will record the most shots on goal over on FanDuel, Tage Thompson is coming in as a favorite at plus 390. And I do think he has a really strong ability here to be able to get those shots on goal. Jared McCann's coming in at plus 700. I just want to have a quick look at what these defenses have been doing as of late. When we look at Tage Thompson here, the Seattle Kraken are allowing an average of 30 shots on goal per game. The Buffalo Sabres only allowing that 28.8. When we look at Lankinken in net, I just want to see in the game log how many shots he has faced lately versus Detroit, versus the Red Wings. He faced 25, 26, 27, 28 shots. We saw 21 versus the Islanders. And that's really interesting that we have seen Buffalo do so strong defensively in that game versus the Islanders, because we know the Islanders can get those shots on goal. So only line the 21 is pretty reasonable there. I want to look at Edmonton. So Edmonton has been strong at locking down on the defensive side as well. He allowed 30. He faced 32 shots versus Edmonton. So looking here at Jared McCann, if he can record more shots than Tage Thompson, it's a really interesting bet. Let's look at what Joey Daccord faced in his last couple of games out here. When he faced the Washington Capitals, he only faced 23 shots on goal. He faced 31 versus the Winnipeg Jets, but the Winnipeg Jets so much stronger defensively. Okay, I'm sold. Tage Thompson for the most shots on goal in this game. Let's just see one more thing. I just want to look at how many shots on goal Tage Thompson has been registering as of late. This is the first time I've actually seen this bet come up on the books, you guys. So I'm really fascinated with it right now. I think there's a strong ability to make some money, especially when we start moving into the playoffs here and going deeper with some of these teams and some of these players that we have a lot of faith in, because plus 390 for the most shots. So Tage Thompson coming off a game where he was really limited versus the Red Wings. He only had 2 shots on goal, but looking at him overall on the season, he's had 202 shots on goal for the whole season. He has played 57 games. So, really good average per game. And when we look at the Islanders, he was able to get 5, 3 versus Detroit, 4 versus Edmonton, 2 versus Toronto. And he did have a high of 7 versus the Florida Panthers, which is absolutely outstanding that he was able to get that many. And the Columbus Blue Jackets, 6. So, the last time these two teams met up, which would have been last season. We're not even able to see. Or no, he did face Seattle. He was out in the game versus Seattle on the 9th. Okay. So he was out on the 9th. I just want to check one more thing. I want to check Jared McCann and how many shots he was able to get versus the Buffalo Sabres last time before I give you guys what I'm liking in this. And I would have had all of this prepared. The only reason I don't is because I did not see this before. So let's look at Jared McCann. We know Jared McCann has been strong for the Seattle Kraken. On the season, he has 168 shots on goal. So already, Tage Thompson's had 202. Now, he did get 4 versus the Nashville Predators. And when we scroll down and look at his record, as of late, he hasn't been cracking those high numbers since he did crack 5 shots on goal versus the New York Rangers on the 5th. The last time he faced the Buffalo Sabres, he only registered 2 shots on goal. I think Tage Thompson here at plus 390 for the most shots on goal in this game is an absolute steal here. Alex Tuck, if you want to go down even further for the Buffalo Sabres, because I do think the shots are still coming for them, and Joey Daccord should be able to stand tall, is plus 950. So you guys, that's where I'm going with this. Sorry I dragged that out so long. I'm really excited about this players to record the most shots on goal that FanDuel is now offering. When we look at what just the 3 shots on goal, there's no value. There is value in Jared McCann that's coming in at minus 130. Tage Thompson is minus 220. So already the book's really thinking he has every ability to get the most shots. If you're looking at him as well, if you think he can get those most shots on goal, Tage Thompson, if you get him to 6+ shots on goal, that's coming in at plus 500. The books aren't even offering it on Jared McCann. If you think either of these players can get 5+ shots on goal, Tage Thompson's plus 260, Jared McCann is plus 430. So more value there, but I do think the 5+ shots on goal is extremely interesting for Tage Thompson. But again, if you get him for the most shots on goal, you should be at plus 390. Such value for a little sprinkle. Okay, that's it for Puck It with Jo. Again, a loaded slate tomorrow. Looking over tomorrow's slate, we have the Ottawa Senators and the Boston Bruins matching up. Total is 6.5. Automatically, I want to look at the Ottawa Senators team total to that under. I know they've found success as of late, being able to put the puck in the back of the net. But against Boston, and I know Boston has had their struggles and these games being pushed to OT, I think we will see the Boston Bruins locked down. Now, the Pittsburgh Penguins and the New Jersey Devils, the Devils have had their struggles offensively, especially versus the Arizona Coyotes in that game. We saw them have struggles yesterday. The Pittsburgh Penguins have been coming out firing in these games. I do think this one goes to that over, the over 6.5 at minus 106. Columbus, the Blue Jackets will be in action with the Red Wings. Red Wings already minus 176 favorites there on the money line. So not loving that juice you're going to have to pay. The Winnipeg Jets and the New York Rangers. This is probably one of the most fascinating matchups out there on the ice. That total is 5.5. And I know these 5.5s have been biting me as of late, but I really do think we're going to start seeing these defenses really show up. In this matchup here, we've got the number one team in the Central and the Winnipeg Jets. You guys know I have so much faith in them, versus the number one team in the Metro and the New York Rangers. I am looking for this period to stay the first period to stay under 1.5 right away. I got to look up odds, you guys. This is the first time looking at tomorrow's lines. I'm not going to lie, I haven't had time today to go over them. I am not seeing the first period odds on FanDuel. That's interesting. I'm seeing the second period, first goal in the second period, first goal in the third period. Nothing for that first period. That first period, I will take under 1.5 goals, though. I do think it is a 1 goal max first period. I have goal scorers, and that's about it for tomorrow's lines. But I would lean to the under 5.5 before I leaned to the over. Toronto, the Maple Leafs in action off that heartbreaking loss versus the Carolina Hurricanes. They will take on the Flyers tomorrow. They're on the road for that one. They're coming in as a favorite at -142, and the Philadelphia Flyers at +118. Toronto bounce back on the road. Nice spot, -142. I would grab that before you lose value. Carolina taking on the New York Islanders. Carolina Hurricanes -152, total 5.5 in that one. That one should stay under the total. Again, I would look at that first period under. We know the Islanders, Bo Horvat got a big goal in the first period in the last game out. I do think Carolina should be able to lock them down enough defensively in that first period. So I would look at that first period again, under 1.5. The Avs on their last game of a road trip, taking on the St. Louis Blues tomorrow. They're a $2 favorite here on the road, and rightly so. I love what we've seen out of the Colorado Avalanche. One thing I do want to check, I want to check at how they have played the St. Louis Blues in the past. The last game of a road trip is kind of a sketchy situation for these teams. So bear with me, you guys. We're going over these lines as I look at them here, just to give you my early take. So when we look at the Colorado Avalanche, they have won 7 of the last 10 meetings, including on December 29th. They were able to get a win 2-1 in St. Louis. So they're in St. Louis again. When we look at earlier in November, we did see the Blues win in Colorado 8-2. But prior to that, we saw the Avs win 4 games in which they got 4 goals in each of those 4 games, limited the St. Louis Blues' ability to get those goals. And that's one thing we have seen out of St. Louis. St. Louis has been struggling in a lot of these games to find the back of the net. Now, they did get the win over the Anaheim Ducks in their last game out with Joe Hofer in net. I'm assuming Jordan Binnington will be in goal tomorrow. The St. Louis Blues won that game 4-2, I believe, was that final score. So I'm looking at this one. They got a goals against average in their last 5 of 2. And the Colorado Avalanche, the same thing, goals against average of 2. They've won their last 5. This team has been rolling extremely hot out there. Can they get another win for the last road game? I think so. I think looking at them on the puck line, -1.5 at +118 is a very solid way to go. The under 5.5, I want to touch because I don't trust the St. Louis Blues enough, especially with Binnington. I don't have a team total. I would look at the Colorado Avalanche's team total to the over in that one. Next game we have here, we have the San Jose Sharks and the Nashville Predators tomorrow as well. The Preds, this team, Forsberg, O'Reilly, I love what we've seen out of them. They are a $4 favorite, though, tomorrow, so I can't bet that. I would look at the Predators team total tonight. If you're getting a team total of 3.5 with light juice to that over, I would hit it. I'm not getting anything as of yet. Looking at anytime goal scorers right away, it's Philip Forsberg at -115 and Ryan O'Reilly at +160. The Sharks have had some success on the road. We have seen them put up some goals versus the Blackhawks in that last game, but against the Preds here, I'm not seeing it happening. I'm wondering who the goaltender is expected to be, so just bear with me while I try to pull up the goaltender if you guys want to still talk some early lines for tomorrow, because that's what I guess we do when we only have a 2-game show. And again, I will be doing Puck It with Joe live tomorrow, and we'll go in full depth over everything that I'm liking on the slate tomorrow for you guys. But Saros is expected tomorrow. So Saros, we know he's strong. He's got a 2.80 goals against average and 935 save percentage, I believe it is. No, a 908. 908 save percentage for Saros there. So we know he can come out and be phenomenal. He's had some up and downs this season so far. I do think the Preds at home in this situation should be able to get a nice win. I would just take their team total. Montreal will be in Edmonton to take on the Oilers. The Oilers is almost a $4 favorite at minus 375. Depending on who is in goal, we know Premier's was able to get that shutout a while ago. Sam Montague has been playing stronger. I would look at Edmonton to try to start locking down more defensively on the defensive side of the puck. Montreal coming off that game versus Calgary. I don't know, you guys. That's a tough one. We'll see what Edmonton does. Edmonton will get the win, but I don't like the puck line. Minus 1.5 at minus 152 right now on that puck line. That would be an alt puck line for Edmonton if I was to do anything with it. Seeing your guys come in. You're rolling with Boston, Colorado, Nashville, Edmonton, LA, Vancouver look good. And I would say all of those teams look good to be able to record up the secondary win. New York Rangers, Carolina, and Toronto. I like that as well. 3 and 4 days, 4 and 6 for the San Jose Sharks. Yeah, the Sharks schedule is crazy busy right now. The Buffalo Sabres and the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver at minus 194 tomorrow versus the Sabres. Now, that puts the Sabres on the second night of a back-to-back with that game tonight. The Sabres, again, have been struggling to find the back of the net, and I think tired legs defensively will be in play. Lankinkin getting the start tonight. Now, if Lankinkin isn't 100% tonight and starts versus Vancouver, which I do think is a smarter move, I would look at tomorrow the under, because I do think Lankinkin can play hot enough where it can be a 5-0 win or a 5-1 win here for the Vancouver Canucks. Casey DeSmith probably is a go for Vancouver. He's been looking a lot stronger. We know Demko has been injured, but if Demko comes in, definitely to that under 6.5 at minus 114 that you have right now. That being said, I would more likely look at Vancouver's team total to the over. I'm sure the over 3.5 is going to be highly juiced, especially with the Buffalo Sabres on the second night of a back-to-back. The Vancouver Canucks on the puck line in the first period, I do think would be intriguing tomorrow. I think they can come out and get a hot start in that first period. The Chicago Blackhawks then will be in LA to take on the LA Kings. The Kings, a huge favorite there, and rightly so. Again, Connor Bedard props for the Chicago Blackhawks. I would look at Kempe for the anytime goal for the LA Kings, and we do have goal scorer odds right now. Kempe coming in at plus 140. Kopitar also, if you want more value, you're getting Kopitar at plus 220. It's funny because you look at the list, there is like 7 players listed for the LA Kings before you even start looking at Chicago players for the favorites to get those goals. Connor Bedard, of course, coming in at plus 250. If anyone's going to score for Chicago, it would be Connor Bedard. But the LA Kings so strong defensively at locking down. They need to start getting these wins, pulling them together. The Minnesota Wild and the Anaheim Ducks are then in action. Keep fading the Ducks. Keep taking their team total to that under. I don't trust this team. And then the last game tomorrow night is 10 p.m. Eastern between the Lightning and the Kings. And the Knights. So the Knights are the favorite at minus 145, plus 116. This is going to be a fantastic game. I really do think the Tampa Bay Lightning have every opportunity of coming into Vegas and pulling off an upset here. At plus 116, though, it's not enough value for me. Minus 140 for the Knights, I can't buy on. Total 6.5 to the over. The Tampa Bay Lightning, if they want to win this game, I do think it goes over that total. So at minus 104 to the over. We know the Kings or the Knights. I don't know why I keep saying Kings. We know the Knights have had some games where they struggled to find the back of the net. But I do think the Lightning's defense on the road is one that I cannot trust. It's not even their goaltending. This game for overtime is coming in at plus 350. First look at that. I do think that's intriguing to go to overtime. I just want to look at a couple of previous matchups. If you guys are still hanging around, obviously you want to listen. And then we'll just recap what tomorrow is looking like. But this is how my thought process goes when I'm looking at these lines. So the Tampa Bay Lightning, we know they did get the last win. That was back in December. High-scoring game. 5-4. That was in Tampa. So the last time they're in Vegas, again, that was a 5-4 score. There was a game in between in Tampa where Vegas was able to get the win, 4-3 in OT. This one absolutely has every chance of going to overtime. We have seen 1-goal games between these two in the last 4 games. 5-4, 4-3 for Vegas, 5-4 for Vegas, 3-2 for Vegas in shootout. Tampa winning 5-4 in December. Plus 350. Give me plus 350 right now to go to overtime between these two. And I do think Tampa has an opportunity of winning. But again, if Tampa is going to win this one, it goes over that total of 6.5 at -104. First period, can we expect fireworks? I would expect the over 1.5 in the first period as well. I'm glad you love my thoughts. This is me looking at these lines. Again, I will be back tomorrow. We'll go over all of these lines in full depth, and I'll let you know if there's anything odd that I've been able to find beforehand, because there will be changes to what I'm liking today or tomorrow. But for today, Washington Capitals versus the Calgary Flames, I do lean for this one to go to that over. I just think Calgary defensively, I just can't trust. Wolf has been absolutely fantastic. I think the Washington Capitals absolutely need this win. Calgary's been rolling hot, but I think Washington can get it done with Ovechkin. Give me Ovechkin for the anytime goal. TJ Oshie for the anytime goal as well. And then plus 118 here for the Washington Capitals. Sharakovich for the Calgary Flames, I do think can find the back of the net on Charlie Lindgren as well. The Buffalo Sabres and the Seattle Kraken. This one leans to that under 5.5. Again, those team totals are 2.5. So if you're leaning on the Buffalo Sabres to get the win, I would look at this one for the Seattle Kraken's team total under 2.5. If you think it's the Seattle Kraken, I'd look at the Buffalo Sabres team total under 2.5. I think this is a 3-2 style win, a game that could go to overtime and be recorded in OT. So the Seattle Kraken are my favorite here at home, -122. They have not lost to the Buffalo Sabres at all. Mom is definitely watching. She's going to be at the game. She was at the Vegas game as well. So come on, Mom, bring us good luck tonight for the Calgary Flames. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but I do think Washington needs this win. I think the value's on Washington at plus 118. Calgary maybe in that first period to come out strong, but we've seen Calgary let these wins go. And with how Ovechkin is playing, I do think that the Washington Capitals get the win. You guys, all the best in all of your bets. I will be on Sports Rage tonight at 10:10 Eastern. So pop on by. We'll be talking some more of these games, NCAA action. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye now.